Recently, a really good article came out on Pokémon GO Hub that talked about the future of Pokémon GO, more specifically when it comes to their live events. I really do think there's a lot of things that we need to talk about when it comes to this article, and there's a lot of precedent for pretty much every single Pokémon GO player. Alright, so with that said, let's get right into it. Alrighty, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokémon GO video. Today we're going to be talking about this article that was published on Pokémon GO Hub, and I really do think this was a very interesting read. The folks over at Pokémon GO Hub had an hour-long sit-down chat with two of the higher-ups over at Niantic, and some of the things that they discussed gave me a bit of a pause, but other things gave me a lot of hope as well. According to Philip Mars, who's the director of regional marketing, they believe that the City Safari event format was a success. And I do tend to agree with them, even though I did not attend any of the city safaris. Rather than having safari zones where they require a lot of physical planning and just a lot of different things that is a logistical nightmare, they can just have this sort of in-game special event that's going to be specific to certain cities. This is a great way to have live event formats for pretty much every city in the world. So for different regions that do not typically get a Pokemon Go Fest or a Safari Zone type event, well, they're gonna have a chance to get live events thanks to this new format. Personally speaking, I am a big fan of it. I really do think that when it comes to City Safari, it's a very good idea. And give credit where credit is due. I really feel like Niantic took the concept of live events and made it into something very simple and something that could be spread around to the entire world. They were talking about all the reasons why City Safari events have been successful, and I really do think that some of these reasons are actually very big positives. For example, they talked about how they don't need to do a whole bunch of planning for these events. Like, I imagine for the old Safari Zones, as well as events like Pokemon Go Fest and the Go Tour events, they have a lot of work involving like traveling to the specific cities, figuring things out with the city itself, and getting all these permits. But with the City Safari format, all they have to do is just turn on this event within the city. So, you know, there's not necessarily anything physical that they have to do, like have a bunch of different props and locations and different things like that. As long as you are in the city and you purchase a ticket to this event, you're gonna have yourself a Safari Zone type experience, and I really do like that. Now, the reason why I'm so high on this format is because when it comes to live events, it is something that I do think a lot more players need to experience. And on top of that, I went to one of the Pokemon Go Fest this summer, and part of that was a city exploring experience, which I imagine is what these City Safari events are supposed to be. And I really did enjoy it. I really felt like the experience of going out into New York City to play this Pokemon Go Fest type event, I thought that was a great format, and it's something that I wish Niantic did more. It was kind of like an amalgamation of the old Pokemon Go Fests along with the Pokemon Go Fest that we had during the pandemic, and I really felt like that worked, and it's something I would like to see moving forward with other live in-game events. I also like the fact that they pointed out that when they're choosing different cities for these City Safari events, they want to look at the local communities, so they're not just going to random cities. So if there's booming Pokemon Go activity in a particular city, chances are Niantic will consider it for a City Safari event. And I really do like that because they're essentially kind of rewarding different communities for being very active in Pokemon Go. Now, they also made a couple of clarifications regarding City Safari events. These are not going to replace events like Pokemon Go Fest or the Go Tour event, which I'm really happy about because I really do like Go Fest, and I really think there's a lot of work that they could do with Go Fest, and it would be really depressing if they were to just completely scrap Go Fest moving forward. But they are going to continue having Go Fests and having more frequent City Safaris on top of it. And then of course they stated that the Safari Zone events that they had before City Safari events are also going to be on hold, which I could totally understand because if this City Safari event is a much better version of the old Safari Zone events, then I feel like it makes sense for them to retire those old events and go with this new, much better format. They also stated that the City Safari events were designed in a way where they're going to have much higher cadence. So that tells me that one of their goals is probably to have a City Safari event every single month. And I'm totally okay with that. I really like the idea of every month there's going to be a different City Safari event in a different location. And that's really exciting to me because eventually I really hope they bring a live in-game event to Chicago. Like, that would be really great. Now, when it comes to the base game itself, it seems like they do have have a lot of plans to make the game even better than it was before. Of course, we heard the same thing for the year 2023, and it did end up becoming a bit of a disaster. They made a lot of missteps in the year 2023, and I really feel like when it comes to the next couple of years, I hope they have a plan that's going to get players excited. And I'm not just talking about new features. I really feel like what they need to do is focus on quality of life improvements. The more they make their game playable and more accessible, especially for people who live in rural areas, the more positive enthusiasm that people are going to have around this game. So that is something that I really hope they consider as they plan out what they're going to add to Pokemon Go in the next coming years. Something that gave me a bit of pause in this article, but I thought was a huge positive, was how they mentioned that yes, they do want to make some improvements to PvP, but they don't see it as the true end game of Pokemon Go, and that's something I totally agree with. Of course, that's going to make some people who are very passionate about PvP a bit unhappy, but they recognize that the core gameplay loop of Pokemon Go is catching and collecting, and I really want them to do more in that area of the game. Like, would I like to see more with PvP? Yes, I really do. I think the system is in a bare bones state, and it's been that way for the last several years, and there's a lot of things they can do to improve PvP, especially when it comes to server stability, as well as with gameplay balance. But overall, I really feel like the core of Pokemon Go is all about exploring, catching Pokemon, and collecting a bunch of Pokemon that you could show off to your friends. The more mechanics they have that support that sort of gameplay, the better Pokemon Go is going to be. So I'm really glad that they recognize that this is the core element of Pokemon Go. So yeah, overall, I'm feeling a bit positive after reading this article. I know some people, especially myself, have been feeling really negative towards Niantic and Pokemon Go as of late, but it's really because of how 2023 has gone. Like, ever since they nerfed remote raids, I feel like this game has gone completely downhill. A lot of the people that I used to play with no longer play Pokemon Go, and it's been really hard to convince them to come back. And then on top of that, it just seems like the gameplay has been nerfed to the ground, whereas during the pandemic, it was one of the best games that we've been playing, and I really do miss the way the Pokemon Go played during that time. But regardless, we're gonna have to just deal with a lot of the negative changes that Niantic implemented over the past couple of years, and we just gotta hope that Niantic continues to build on the game where it is actually good, and that is the collecting aspect of it. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts regarding this one particular article. I will link to it down below, so if you want to read it for yourself, you can go ahead and do so. And I just wanted to know what the community is thinking, because yeah, the future of Pokemon Go is a bit of a big question mark. So I really want to see how the community is feeling right now when it comes to Pokemon Go, so that we can kind of gauge how successful this game is going to be moving forward. Definitely share those thoughts in the comments, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then make sure you go and check out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way within Pokemon Go, like with remote raids or the friendship system, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. Also, if you want to support my channel in a non-monetary way, you could do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula, and I'm on the following platforms. Alright, and that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.